We're back with one more down. We have a young phenom, Antuan Gardner, running back out of Niles McKinley High School, class of 2024, newly minted YSU signee. We are glad to have this young man on today. He stamped himself in Mahoning Valley history with his talent that he displayed on the field, putting his name atop of the mountain of some really great backs from this area. We're excited to have you on as a guest tonight. Get into who you are as an individual, your approach to the game, and then, your thoughts about what your future holds for yourself. So I appreciate you, connecting with us, bringing us over into the Trumbull County area, and just getting to spend a few moments with you, talking about football, talking about life, and talking about what it is to be a Niles McKinley Red Dragon. So thank you for coming on tonight, sir.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, it's funny. So following high school football, watching it, having played and coached for so many years, there's always a huge intrigue in the high school season and how the seasons are going to play out and who the teams are. And, from early on, your name always kind of rose to the top and getting to know your uncle a little bit and then having a personal interest into your stats and seeing what you're doing. What a fantastic year you had. And we'll talk about some of the stats. But I think I was looking today. What was your guys' record last year? I think 2-8.
Yes, sir. 2-8.
And then making a huge step, having a banner year. So not only the personal pride in that, right, your personal accomplishments, but having that group of guys that you went to school with, grew up with, getting a playoff win. It's got to be a great experience. So, looking forward to hearing about it. And also a YSU commit, right? Staying home,
Yes,
being in front of your friends and family. It's an exciting time, I'm sure.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
To get started, we like to get a foundation of who the person is and where the personality may stem from. If you could you give us a little bit of background about your family dynamic and those people that are important to you that helped you so far in getting to this point and taking you along this journey?
Yeah, mom and dad, they're not together, obviously, but they're both a big part of my life. They took a lot of sacrifices, like, giving me the extra work and just, spending the extra money and just spend the extra time with me just to get me where I am today. So I want to thank them too. I want to thank my grandma because, my mom being a single mom, whatever, she had a big role too of helping with my siblings and myself as well. So without them, like, none of this is really possible. But yeah, so I just want to give a big thank you to them for sure.
And so where does your athletic journey begin for you?
At the age, I want to say it was like 2012, so I was 5 years old, the Little Red Dragons. Um, that time, so yeah, first year.
What position did you start out as that first year of organized football?
I was running back. Even my first carry as a Little Red Dragon, it was a touchdown actually. It was just I remember that like it was yesterday.
And what was that feeling like, to be in your first competition, that they're turning around and giving you the ball Can you take us back to that moment and what it was, how it felt, what it looked like?
We were at like I want to say like the 10, and like my number was called because we had an A team and B team. So like it was BT's time to come in. And obviously I'm a little boy or whatever. So my first year, and they're like, we ran wishbone, so it was bone 31 dot. And I remember my number was called, and I'm nervous, like I'm ready, but I'm nervous. And I just get it, and I see nothing but green grass. And it was just I took it all the way to the crib, and it was just after that I was like, yeah, I know this is for me. This is what I want to do.
Did you when you started playing, did you always have a love for the game? Was it something you knew you always wanted to do? Were you involved in other sports? Or was football always your focus?
Football was always my focus. I knew as soon as I put them pads on, I was like, yeah, this feels right. Like I always knew football is what I wanted to do.
So, as you're coming up and, getting introduced to the game, having that success on your first carry, not many people get to hit pay dirt that very first time that they touch the ball. Did you have people that you looked up to or anybody that you were kind of chasing after as you started to progress as a younger youth athlete?
Um, Not like no athlete, but I did look up to my parents because you know how hard they work. I mean, at a young age, I knew they put themselves in positions to help me succeed. So those I really looked up to them. So and I just knew from stories and watching YouTube, whatever, like this could be a way out for me and my family. So yeah, like that's really what it was. It was really my determination just to and help my family out.
So with us being from that Mahoning County area and the Youngstown side, um, as a high school player, I faced off against Niles a couple times. That school has a long tradition, has great community support, and the people really love that program. I know as a player myself coming over there back in those days, this is well before the turf is installed. When you used to come into the stadium, I think the facade of everything was painted red, and it always felt very dark in that stadium when you played a night game. Even with the lights on, I think the band shell and just the ambiance when you come in there as an opponent. It's a little bit eerie when you come in, and then with the water being right there, the night game. Sometimes it's a little foggy. Uh, what was your first uh, experience playing at Bo Ryan Stadium? What were the feelings, the thoughts? Um, were you ready and prepared for those moments, or was that something that you just didn't know what to expect?
My dad goes by a motto, and he says, "You stay ready, so you ain't got to get ready." So I always lived up to that, so I was ready for it, no doubt. But I started as a freshman, so my first ever game, my freshman year was a varsity game. So I mean, of course, I was a little nervous, ever, but I knew that I was ready for it, no doubt. Like this is what I worked for since I was in seventh grade. This is what I love to do, so I knew I was ready for it.
That freshman year, I see that you ran for about 564 yards. My era, we had to pay our dues. Guys who played as ninth graders had to be phenomenal and exceptional. With that long history over there at Niles, the great teams that they had of the 60s, I know they used to, at least the last time I was there at that stadium, they used to, keep a lot of memorabilia and really recognize those former players and those former great teams. Um, are there any of the players that played in the past that you've either heard of or have gotten familiar with over the years?
I mean, there's two players I'm really familiar with is like Mike Burns, and I want to think it's Ryan Estes. Matt Estes,
Mm.
or it was like one of those two. I know they're brothers. I think that's their name. But yeah, those who I really are familiar with, I really don't know anyone.
And for you to have the type of career that you've had there, and you know, um, be counted on to produce. Uh, do you recognize your place in that long, illustrious history at the school yet, or is that something that hasn't really set in yet because you're still just actively involved, being a student, going about your daily routines?
It really hasn't like set in. A lot of people say it or whatever, but like, I mean, it hasn't really set in. Really, I just, like you said, I just go through my day-to-day thing. So now it hasn't really set in yet. No.
I think one thing that kind of interests me is, Ron hit on it, Estes, and when I was coaching at Cheney on that 2000, when our Cheney team went to in 2000 went 10-0, and then we played Niles. They were 9-1, and we were both. I mean, it was the first round of the playoffs. YSU Stadium's packed. I mean, it was a huge deal, and I think Estes was a tailback at that time. Phenomenal football game, and we ended up missing an extra point in overtime. Imagine that, Ron, right? We ended up missing an extra point in overtime, and Niles went on and won 2 more games. And then, when I was the head coach of Struthers, they had a great tailback, Nate Ganyard, phenomenal player, big. He might have been 220, just a bear. And given the history and just how important football is in the area, right? Like, what's it? And you're a humble guy, I could already tell. What's it like, kind of being the guy, a feature back, right? On a team where, I'm checking the paper, seeing what your stats are. You don't even know who I am. You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be a little bit of a burden and some excitement about that. What's it like being the guy and working through that?
No, I mean, I really don't pay much mind to it, to be honest. I'm all I'm doing is just going out there doing what I love to do, week in, week out. I mean, it feels nice to like get that recognition, but at the same time, it's what I work for, and that's what I like. I mean, that's what I worked for, and I mean, I really don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
It feels good though, for sure, to get that recognition.
So let me ask you this, and this was one of the things I was thinking about today. You said that's what you worked for. What do you think goes into making a career or season like you and your team just had?
It definitely takes a lot of dedication for sure. I mean, a lot of those days where you don't feel like getting up, working out, and you know, um, also discipline. It takes a lot of discipline. Those days you don't feel like working out, and you know, getting every rep, doing every set. Just the little things. Like I feel like that plays a big role in getting a career or even like a season like I did. I didn't take no shortcuts, and feel like that plays a big role in who you are and how you're gonna produce. If you need that extra yard, like maybe say like if you didn't do that extra rep or that rep, you missed one, that could be that yard you needed. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I really prided myself in just doing the extra work and just not taking any shortcuts.
Yeah. And I think, that's a good point, because I was watching those huddle films today, and, there's you never know what to expect when you watch a guy. You see all these stats. Sometimes, man, plays are block perfect, and everything's nice and sweet and clean, and you're just scoring. But there were some dirty touchdowns in there, right? Like running through guys, making cuts, creating. And you lived it, but there were some of those on there where you're running through 2, 3 guys. Like, to me, I thought that was the impressive part about it. The
Yeah, I mean,
physicality.
yeah, I was always a head down type of guy, but I can put that other wiggle in my game too. But yeah, like that's just the extra work, just that grit we say.
When I was coming through high school, one of the great backs during that time period was Richard Lemon. He's been a guest on the show. Um, Undersized guy, uh, really a guy that you would overlook from the eye test. But, that heart and that determination that he had as a player, it allowed him to do great things. And, one of the things that he was kind of stating when we had our conversation was just, you have either a level of hard work or excellence instilled in you. For him, it was through his mom. His older brothers really kind of paved the way in allowing him to dream to be great. And I know for a guy like yourself who a lot of times the spotlight is focused on, but it is an 11-man game, and we don't do or accomplish or reach these heights strictly on our own. Um, can you talk a little bit about your coach, and then can we get into just give an insight into those other personalities on your team, your offensive line, the guys that are out on the perimeter securing blocks, helping each man to do their job so that somebody can benefit. And, in this case is you're the guy that makes the headlines. You're the guy that the news focuses on. But, who are those other coordinating pieces that helped you to become successful in that team environment?
You know, yeah. So like, the coaches always believed in me. Ever since, even before I got there, I always told them I was like, I wanted to be the best, and that I said I wanted to play as a freshman. So they always had that belief in me, and so they always put us in the right position. Always. Big props to them. The guys, they was the ones who put the work in. We made a goal in middle school that we wanted to make a run, that we wanted to be known, remembered as one of the better teams out of Niles. So I mean, I think we accomplished that for sure. But all them dudes was ready to work day in and day out. Like without my offensive line, nothing I did would have have happened. Them dudes put the work in and out, not just at football, but on their own too. They was eating, they was doing everything they were supposed to do. So it's a big props to them. Big props to my receivers who blocked on the outside whenever I needed to take a bounce. Everyone was doing their job. So big props to all my guys who just put the work in.
And who are your linemen? Some of those names of guys that are either transitioning and moving on to other endeavors after this senior season, or guys that may be returning to pave the way for the next guy.
You have Carter Waldron. He was our right tackle. We had Dom Nolan, who was our right guard. And then Landon Turner was also our right guard. Yeah, Nick Clark was our center. Yeah, our left guard was Dante Miller and also Greg Rowley. And then our left tackle was Chris Massiusi, man. Them dudes was all dogs. I mean, we get like, I'll tell you, like every time I look at them, they had their own little lifting group, and them dudes was working. So all those names I said, them the guys, them the dudes for sure.
And then, what did you and your guys rally around as your motto, or that source of inspiration to have the type of season that you all were able to put forth this past football season?
Yeah, our motto was, it was good. That's what we used to go by. Like Coach Parry was real big on, if it's a good thing if things are going bad. Good, we can get better from it, or it's a good thing that good things are happening. Obviously, so like adversity hits good. Let's be better. Let's make that help us. Like just things like that. It was our motto was good. We always seen the good in everything.
I was reading an article today when you were honored with Trumbull County Player of the Year, and I think, Coach Parry talked about you being a goal-oriented person, and he said, setting a goal of being the best, and he said he didn't know whether it was going to be this, like being named that getting that award, but that was always a goal. And then he also said that Um, I think the dynamic of his situation is important too, right? Coming into Niles wasn't super successful, trying to turn the program around, and he said you can't replace a guy like Antoine, but the leadership that you left behind is extremely important. It's going to carry those things on. And, I think that's a huge testament to, you as a player. And what do you think some of those leadership characteristics that you hope to leave behind would be?
Just to always go hard even when things are going bad. That was my big thing. I wasn't really getting your face and the other type of guy. I was that guy who was always gonna go hard 100% no matter what, and I was always gonna try to bring my team along with me. If we're down by one or we're down by six or we need that 1 yard, I'm like, let's go, yo, like let's get this. Like every it doesn't matter how bad or how good anything is. I'm always the one who's always like, let's go, like let's get more. Let's do this. Like so I hope my determination to always want to get more and always want to be better, like helps them guys want to come along.
Then the flip side is, I'm sure given today's landscape, right, how things are today for high school kids, college kids, you know, when you were transitioning to high school, I'm sure there were opportunities for you to go elsewhere or getting phone calls, um, you know, and you chose to stay. And now I think he even mentioned that. Um, you know, what was your thought process, your motivation? What's it like navigating that whole dynamic?
Yeah, coming into my freshman year, my parents wanted me to move, and Niles never had that real that player yet, that dude who really made it. If that makes sense. And I always told my parents that I wanted to be the first person to do that. Like I wanted to be the name that came in now that who just shocked the world, who just shocked the city, and just like yeah, like I just wanted to be remembered here. And so I got really proud of myself and just wanted to be that guy who did it from Niles. You have the dudes from Cheney who went big. You have the dudes from Warren Harding who went big. You have all those dudes, and I wanted to make a name for myself at Niles and put Niles on the map.
Yeah, and I think and that's I think that's important, right? You could go somewhere and be one of a bunch of guys that are good, or you can be one of the handful of guys that turn a program around. And I think that's really meaningful, and that matters. So thanks.
Yes, sir.
Now with the type of production that you put up, and playing in a conference like the Northeast 8, your name permeating throughout the valley. I know when I was a player, we looked for those guys. We wanted to measure ourselves and see where we were, if that guy was everything that he was, reported to be. Um, how did you embrace that competition and knowing that everybody's aim is to stop you and not let you get the eye popping stats, not have the big game. And then on the end of that, how did having all of that experience starting as a freshman up through your senior year? I know you had an injury in there at some point. What do you use as your own fuel and your own motivation to counterbalance, the opposition and people's view of you?
Like I really don't get big into it. Like, I know they want to stop me, but I don't really like think about it. I just go out there and play my game at the end of the day because, like I said, that's what I worked for, and I'm gonna go do what I gotta do. So, I mean, I didn't really let that be intimidation to me or just like any feel. Like I just me wanting to be the best that was my fuel. That was what pushed me to want to go out here and play my best game. So I just that was all noise to me. So matter to me.
We had showed you a little preview. My guy Malcolm Gardner, Cheney class of '94, phenomenal tailback in his own right. I know he had some opinion and some influence on you and helping you meet certain benchmarks and certain goals for yourself. What did he instill in you or share with you in terms of approaching the game and what you wanted to get out of it?
Before every game, he always would come up to me and be like, you're that guy. Like, it. Everyone else knows it. You got to go out there and be that guy. Like, there ain't no one on this field that's better than you. And that's always what he told me before every game. He's like, there's no one out here better than you. And even he taught me when I was younger, just to even when times are hard, I keep going. When everyone else is tired, you got to be the one who keep going. That's all. Everything was a mindset. That's all he told me. Everything was a mindset, and that I know I'm the best player on this field, so go act like it. And that all stuck with me.
Now, I see that you carry a very respectable grade point average, reported as 3.5 plus. What is the foundation of your academics? Why is that so important to you? And, what do you hope to do, outside of the realm of football?
So school has always been important to me because my dad always told me that football is not gonna last forever, and they can't take what you have up here away from you ever. Let's kill you. So I always wanted to be the smart guy. I wanted to know everything. I still do, obviously, but like my education is always important because you're always gonna need that. Like football is not forever, and everyone knows that. And one day I would like to start my own business outside of football, and to be my own boss, my own entrepreneur. So that's what I want to do. I'm going to college to major in business administration. So
One question. So, you've really accomplished what you set out to do in terms of, being the best back in the area and having team success and setting a goal for yourself of going to play at college at the next level at a high level. I always wonder, when did you really know that opportunity was there? Because I think even as people transition into high school, you start to feel like, okay, am I ready for this? Like every athlete tells himself that, right?
mhm.
But there comes a moment where I know, like, I can do this. If things work out, if I stay healthy, like, I know I can do this. Did you have a moment where you felt like, maybe not a singular moment, but a time frame where you felt like, okay, this is falling in line and I can make it at the next level?
I would say my sophomore year of high school, whenever I had broke our school's record and I had a lot of that success. I remember like 1,500, I believe, and like 18 touchdowns. And I was just like I was matching my numbers to like top guys in the area or even like top prospects in the nation or whatever. And I'm like, I'm doing this as a sophomore, and these dudes are only doing this as seniors and stuff. So that's when I know I was like, yeah, like I can get this. Even working out with my college buddies and stuff, like it was never like it was obviously a challenge, but it wasn't that big of a challenge to me. So like if I can compete with these dudes at such a young age, I knew I could, go out there and go to the next level.
And then, what's the recruiting process like, as you're, um, you got everything in line, right? The stats, the play, the film, it's all lining up, the grades. Um, what's that process like for guys now in terms of, um, you know, who's calling, how do you make your decision, that type of thing?
It was it was slow for me. My sophomore year, I had schools coming in and out, just like telling me they knew who I was and everything, but there was never really offers until actually my senior year. I got my first Division 1 offer from the University of Maine going into my senior year, and that was the only one I had. And then a lot of Division twos came, and then Youngstown came last minute my senior year. So a lot of things happened my senior year, and also like as soon as the season was over, everything started picking up real fast. And I was taking these visits, and Youngstown came around, and I was like, man, this is convenient. Plus, they play a really good brand of football, and they love their football at Youngstown. And I know Coach Phillips, he's very dedicated to being at Youngstown and wanting to make them better. So that really stuck out to me. So yeah, that's how that.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, who knows, man? There's a guy on the Denver Broncos right now
Sir.
that um, that you know is having an impact. Like not just making the roster, not in practice squad. Like he's in there making plays. So, um, and what what are your thoughts on playing in your hometown and having the opportunity to do that?
I mean, it's good. I mean, like it's fun. I mean, I'm gonna have everyone from now is gonna be at the games, and my family's gonna be at the games. But that wasn't really my focus going into it. I want to get to that next level, so I'm trying to limit all distractions possible. I mean, they're not. I'm not saying they're distractions or not, but that's not really what I've been focusing on, really. So I mean, it's no big deal to me. I'm just there as a business trip to get to where I need to be.
Yeah.
You kind of touching on your process and the landscape of what is recruiting in this day and age. Uh, During our time, myself in Dallas, there were times where you could wait and have a breakout year your senior year and still catch on to an offer. We're in this new era of transfer portal, NIL, and it's having a effect and an impact. Guys such as yourself who have phenomenal talent, it's evident that you can play the game at a very high, efficient level. But there's that ease of transition from school to school now. Whereas before, if you transferred to another university, you had to sit out a year. If you transferred up a division, you lost a year of eligibility. And with some of those barriers removed now, it's putting a little bit of pressure on the high school guy who's done everything that he could possibly do, checks all the boxes, has the measurables and the grades. Is that okay with you, knowing that you made the best choice for yourself for what the circumstances allow?
Oh, for sure. And, I don't really let the transfer portal bother me because at the end of the day, I need to be pushed. I need to work towards something. If there's a guy that's older than me and who's gonna give me that experience and who's gonna make me work harder, that's what I need. That's what I want. I want someone that's gonna push me to want to be better than them. So if getting an older guy in front of me is what it takes for me to be the best, then that's what I want.
And then, as you're making that transition from high school level ball to the college level, you're coming with a phenomenal resume. Um, do you have any thoughts of what people's expectations may be, or their feeling of what your upside or your potential is? Or are you back into that mode as you were in 2020, optimistic, uh, going through the process, getting ready to get to work and seeing what develops from that?
I'm gonna have to go with the 2020 mindset. I'm just there to work. I mean, people are always gonna have expectations, no matter who you are, or what you're doing in life. Everyone has expectations. So I mean, I don't really like wanting to live up to other people's expectations because I don't want to feel like I let someone down. I want to live up to my expectations, and I just want to do what I can do to the best of my ability. And I don't really listen to other people's expectations. I just go out there and do my best and see what God got in store for me.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. And you even said it in terms of being the guy, right? It's not about being the guy; it's doing your best. And so even as you transition into down to YSU, it sounds like you put higher expectations on yourself than anybody else is ever going to. And really, I mean, that's a recipe for success. Is that self-motivation, that those goals that you have. And so, being able to transition in June here, being local already, what are some of the goals that you have going down to YSU for yourself?
Just to stay focused and get the best out of what I get. I want to every opportunity that I get, I want to get the best out of it. That's my mindset as of right now, going and being a freshman, knowing there's older guys who've been there, who've played that next level already. So I just want to maximize my opportunities, the opportunities that I get, really. So those are my main goals.
Yeah, and it's a great opportunity because, like you said earlier, man, you're playing in probably the best FCS league in the country. You I think North Dakota State was a field goal away from having two teams in that league playing the national championship. 7 teams make the playoffs. I mean, there's definitely a great brand of football that you have the opportunity to be part of. And so that's exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
As you've started to get used to the fact that you're a football alum at Niles McKinley, when you think back over those 4 years, this phenomenal resume, this gargantuan season that you ended with, if you had that one more down to do for yourself as a high school player, what would that situation or scenario be for you? How would you set that up?
Um, down by 3, give me the ball inside the 20. I want the ball inside the 20. Down by 3, 1 play to go. That's how I want to do it. I want to see what I'm made of.
And so what do you think, if you could fast forward, what are, and I know we touched on it, what do you hope for your time at YSU? What are your goals and your wishes? Not just for one aspect, transition in, but after your 4 years are done, what do you hope that looks like for you?
That I'm the best to come out of there. That's my hope, to be the best to ever do it.
It's been a pleasure, getting to spend this time with you, get that insight into what that process is like, how you experience and handle the pressure that comes with being a high producing guy, your grades, your mindset, your actions. It affords you all the things that have happened to you, the good things that are yet to come. I'm wishing you tremendous success. I'll be following closely, and I hope that you get everything out of Youngstown State that you want and more. Because having gone through that experience of playing at the next level, you come in wide-eyed, you're ready to compete, but ultimately you don't know how it's going to go until you're in the midst of it and you find your place and you settle in and you progress through that next phase of life. I hope that, you get to experience the joys of being a part of that college football experience. And then, that you relish and savor the relationships and the experiences that you'll have through that process. So it'll be interesting to see how this all turns out. Maybe in 4 years, we'll come back and, talk about your next down going to the NFL.
Oh, yeah, we'll be back here for sure. Don't worry. We'll be back. Mark my words on that one. They're going to be there.
Well, I think listening to you talk, it sounds like you'd be surrounded by great people. And I think that a lot of times, all of us, when we're young, we don't always listen to some people that give us a pathway to success, and some guys choose to make their own mistakes. And seems like you've really taken a lot of your exposure to great people, and you've internalized it. And I think you've got the recipe to success, right? Your hunger, your desire, your humility, and that will carry you through to the next level. So, just keep doing what you're doing, get better, and you're going to be surrounded by even more people down there that are great men and women, and take advantage of that. And just like Ron said, man, I'm excited for you, and wish you nothing but the best. So good luck, man.
Hey, thank you. And thank you guys for having me. It was a pleasure being here. Thank you for the opportunity.
You'll be doing a lot more of these. You'll be a pro. You'll be a pro.
Hopefully. Let's get it. All right. Thank you guys.